Father God shall.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, I need a motion on the work session minutes from last meeting.
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
6 with 1 abstention.
Okay. Need a motion on the regular minutes.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Thank you so much. As you well know, the last couple of weeks have been pretty busy around Montgomery, all very positive, with one exception of a major fire we had in North Montgomery, but there is some good news there. Our people demonstrated what being a Class A, Class 1 fire department's all about. And we'll talk about that just in a moment. As you well know, for this year, the advertiser is doing a Community Heroes recognition, those unsung, if you will, individuals around Montgomery that do good things. And we have tonight with us the next recipient of the Community Heroes, and Bro Criff is with us. Where's Bro? Yeah, Bro is coming up. Michael Galvin is, oh, you're doing it tonight.
Well, if
Michael Galvin is the president. Bro is the managing editor. Please, we've
Thank
got
you.
some slides as well.
if you'll indulge me for a second before Bro does come up and recognize Coach Jay, the true community hero, there is one other piece of brief recognition that, if you'll allow me, the council, the public servants, and the mayor. I know you don't receive much recognition from the public, and the press can often seem like honest critics, maybe not honest critics, problem spotters. So we're working on that. A couple months ago, I was at down at the riverfront helping to put up a tent on a Saturday, and a man came up and he was telling me how he didn't read the advertiser, and I knew what he meant, but he went on to tell me how much he didn't like the advertiser and didn't know why we were writing about all this about the F-35 and why that was so important. And I think when he got tired of criticizing me in the paper, he started to criticize the mayor and says, why does the mayor keep going on about all this? And I wasn't really looking for a debate or any confrontation, but after a while, I did just stop and say, well, I think this is important. It's something that if we lost it, because our planes are the most aged in the fleet, and if we didn't get the 187, didn't get the F-35, we'd lose the legacy of the Red Tail Squadron. We would lose 1,400 jobs. The reverse of that, by securing that with the city, the mayor, the community has done, is secured those jobs for the next 50 years and all that goes with that. And so I did mention to him, I said, I've met the mayor, and I know not everybody always agrees, but I believe he genuinely cares about the community and the people of Montgomery and what's best for everybody. And surprisingly, he agreed. And so on behalf of that honest critic and the paper, myself, and the 1,400 people and their families that were able to benefit from you and all the work of the city securing the 187, I brought a copy of the printing plate from when we secured, when we did the commemorative edition announcing that. So I wanted to present this on behalf of everybody.
Great, thank you.
I'm grateful for that, and I'm delighted to have my picture on the 35 for 35, but it was the city council that actually voted about a $3 million endeavor to bring in all of the incentives along the way, so they deserve this award as well.
I'm gonna turn here so I can actually look at the crowd a little bit. I'm Bro Crift. I'm the executive editor of the Montgomery Advertiser. I have the pleasure to introduce the March Community Hero. And there's a reason, I think, and I need to point this out, that there is a huge crowd here from Montgomery Catholic to be honoring Kirk Johnson, the Coach J, I believe is who he's called, correct? But before I start talking about him, what I really want to talk about is mentoring and what it means to humans, what it means to us growing up as a community, and what a small moment a 20-year-old man can make and the difference he can make in a life. But before I start talking about that, I think I need to talk about his mother. One of the things that really struck me when we wrote this story about Mr. Johnson was that he was raised by a single mother, and he's one of 6 kids. And he talked about how his mother was always there on Father's Day, and his mother was always there on Mother's Day. And she was that rock in his life. And I think that created a foundation for why he is a rock in so many young men and young women's lives today at Montgomery Catholic. There was another quote in that story. It was a young man saying, "Everybody needs somebody like that." He was talking about Coach J. And I think about that. I think about the mentors that I had and who I needed in my life, that somebody. And he is that somebody for dozens and dozens of young men and women in this community and in the state of Alabama. He's helped 24 people receive scholarships to college. He has dedicated himself to their lives. He holds pictures of them in his wallet. He has them on his computer. He has them and he displays them like a proud father, the kind of person that you want in your life. It's more than a ball. It's more than a bench press. He is pushing somebody. I want you to think about that person in your life that pushed you and said, "You can do it, you can do it, you can do it." That is Coach J for so many people in their lives. He's made that kind of difference. He's the one that hugs them when they're down. He's the one that brings them up. He's the one that raises them up even higher to the sky when they're proud and they're winning championships. There was a moment that our sports editor was at where a couple young men were signing scholarships to go to college, and they had a special ceremony at Montgomery Catholic. And he was struck by it because he saw 2 young men crying about the kind of relationship that they had with Coach J and what he meant to them and what he brought to them that instilled them in that strength and that belief to go someplace. And I think they were crying, and that whole room was crying because of what he has done for them. He's gone to places like Florida State, Vanderbilt, he drives them, he answers calls for them. He's the kind of person that you want in your child's life at schools like Montgomery Catholic or Montgomery Public Schools or anywhere. He's the kind of person that I hope I can be to somebody someday. I want to be that kind of mentor. And because he is that kind of mentor, that is why he is our community hero for the month of March. Thank you. That's right, plaque's right here.
Coach, you want to say a word or two before we get a picture with the city council?
Not really.
The mic is yours.
Okay, I will say I want to thank some people, including the airport and Beasley Allen, because not only does he get this recognition, but he also receive a $500 flight voucher to go anywhere, well, anywhere under $500, I guess, as well as a staycation at Wind Creek and a gift certificate to the restaurant Wind Creek. So, thank you.
You were his coach, and I know
Can we turn this off?
you were a mentor. You were a mentor to him. So why don't you give 30 seconds of what it means to be a friend of his?
Coach behind me.
Y'all ready to see Kirk sweat a little bit? Now, Kirk's been a special guy to all of us for a long time, and it is just does our heart good. Coach Charlie Goodyear, our strength coach, is back there also, and for us to watch Kirk go do the things that he's doing, that's what we say we're all about at Huntington, and he has certainly taken that baton and moved it along down the line and is paying it forward. And you know, I know how proud his mother is of him, and yes, you are, aren't you? And we are equally as proud of you, Kirk.
Well, I didn't have any hand in selecting him. I told him that I didn't know him, but I'm already love him because he told me when he came up, he said, Jack Burt, who happens to be my grandson, is awesome, who last Friday, because of some illness he had, got cleared to play football next year. So he'll be out there on the gridiron as that goes. And thank you guys for doing this. This is so special to not only the recipients, but to our entire community to get to know those people that otherwise might not get the recognition that they certainly deserve. And it's always interesting to see who you're going to come up with next. They just get better and better and better. And we certainly appreciate that. Well, you know that we had a big event from last Monday through Saturday. Some were even around on Sunday as we were moving along. And while we don't have any of the financials, they really took second seat to the world, what they saw with the opening of the Memorial to Peace and Justice, and also the legacy. You see some of the media that really has Dateline Montgomery and putting Montgomery on the map and all of the things that they can see in Montgomery. But we're really appreciative to Brian Stevenson to locating it in Montgomery, because he could have located it elsewhere. And when he was asked why, it's the legacy of civil rights in Montgomery and the fact that we're acknowledging the ugliness of the past, and as we move forward, it will help us be united and be that one Montgomery that we're all striving to become. If you go to the next slide, it'll show you about half of the United States where we had the media coverage. These are the hits that would have been generated. You see the red is kind of where the intensity. Obviously, the media is up in New York. We've actually been in New York, Charlie Jenwright and I, for the auto show, and we did several interviews while we were up there. And we know that the national news would hear. As a matter of fact, even BBC was in Montgomery interviewing individuals along the way. The next slide will show you the chatter that gets graphically displayed on the number of mentions and things like that. So it was a significant event. Montgomery did, in fact, put its best foot forward. Our 2,400 employees did a marvelous job in preparing our city for it. Our public safety did a wonderful thing. What our goal was to have a great event that was a non-event, and it turned out to be a great event without any significant issues. The only issue that I'm even aware of is the fact that one of the workers tearing the structures down got a broken arm. We'll know the impact for years to come in that regard. The next thing we want to talk about is the Montgomery Fire Department. I mentioned to you earlier about the fact that we've got a great fire organization, you know, one that we're ISO certified 1. We've got 2 examples of why that certification is there. The first has to do with an award that we just received that Chief Finley and Chief Gaucher is going to talk about on training and the accreditation that we go through to get our firefighters ready. And then we're going to also hear from Kenny Boland, who's going to take you through the strategy of fighting that fire in North Montgomery. We could have easily lost a lot of North Montgomery because of the fire. So with that, Chief, where are you? Chief Jordan? If you'll come up, let's give the Chief of the ISO 1 rating a round of applause.
Good afternoon. As the mayor said, we pride ourselves in being number 1 We like that. I'm an Alabama fan, so it goes together. The last 4 months, there's been several fires that the members of Montgomery Fire Rescue took care of in a very professional way in protecting our citizens. And so I want to bring up first, there's a lot of moving parts. Fires is one part and EMS is another. But there's a lot of members that work behind the scene that makes everything really works. And so we want to bring up and talk about these gentlemen from the training divisions. The Montgomery Fire Rescue, each member is a licensed paramedic from one level or another, 3 levels, so level 1, 2, and 3. So these gentlemen are responsible for all the CEUs that it takes to keep our license. And it is so much information, it takes 3 full-time officers every day, every year, reporting to the state of Alabama about the licensees' CEUs. So I'll ask the supervisor, Chris Gaucher, to come up and explain the report that he received from the EMS department.
These young men here work in our CEU department. Their primary job is to renew our EMT license for over 300 members. That's a very tedious, time-consuming process, and it takes great attention to detail. Not only this year had they completed that process ahead of schedule, but it was in a fashion that caught the attention of the state EMS office. So much so, they wrote an article about these guys in the state EMS article for the first quarter, where they talked about how professional, how accurate, and how well put together their EMT package were. These 3 guys here, Lieutenant Farmer, Lieutenant King, and Lieutenant Morgan, are the reason why this was possible. I'm their supervisor, but I had nothing to do with it. These guys make me look good, so I'd like to thank these guys personally and give them all the attention. Thank you.
We actually had a certification letter and an award that was presented to the chief, and that's just one phase. He's also going to introduce Ken Bowling, I think. Ken, the first time I met Ken Bowling, he was on top of a, I don't know, 50, 60-foot ladder. He wasn't directing water as much as he was directing a fire. Not this particular one, but it was that pallet fire that we had, Charlie, out in West Montgomery. First time I saw Ken Bowling, where's Ken? Come on up here, Ken. Ken's going to take you through this fire, but I just got to tell you, the strategy, the equipment, the coordination between all of the entities, including the Forestry Service, which was able to clear some fire lines to keep the fire from jumping to the forest that would have spread like wildfire with a 35 or so mile-an-hour wind. So, Kenny, if you'll take us through and talk about the drone technology, how to strategize and the number of units. I'll already tell you we had 125 firefighters involved in that particular activity. So, Kenny, accept our congratulations on behalf of all of the fire department for a job well done.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. First of all, I've been in the fire department for 33 years, believe it or not. And it's probably one of the largest fires I've had to deal with. You should be proud of your fire department that serve the city of Montgomery. All the members, you owe everything to the firefighters who was physically working this fire. I assisted on commanding the fire, making sure we could do all we could do to try to protect exposure. As you see the picture there, the fire pretty much had a huge jump or spread on us. You know, we pride ourselves on getting on the scene anywhere in the city of Montgomery within 3 to 4 minutes. And our motto is the quicker we can get there and put the cool wet stuff on the hot red stuff, the sooner we can go back to the station and eat and chill out. Unfortunately, this particular fire here, we got there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:15. Matter of fact, one of the training officers out doing his daily jog, and he's seen it and called it in. So we get there about 3:15, gave initial side up, a heavy smoking flame visible with exposure. They requested additional units. We requested additional units. And when I got there, I requested additional units. I requested everybody at fire headquarters report to the scene, except the fire chief and chief of staff. But anyway, we deployed our drone. That's some of the new technology. It's amazing what the drone could show us what we was working with. Utilize the drone. had 75, 80 to 100 personnel on the scene. And the biggest part of this was that the wind condition, the humidity makes a difference, believe it or not. And we flowed water from around 3 o'clock on Wednesday to about 3 or 4 o'clock the next day. So firefighters stayed on the scene for roughly 24 hours. We had to call in additional units, put reserve units in service to protect the rest of the city. Because, you know, we got 100-some firefighters on this fire. There's still 911 calls that we have to respond and answer to. So it's a coordinated effort to make sure no one goes without being served by Montgomery Fire Department. The guys did an outstanding job. Outstanding. They did outstanding. You should be proud of your fire department. I'm proud of the guys that I supervise. Thank you.
Good job. Good job, good job.
More important thing to do before we get into the council business, I think the week of April 30th through May 4th, the week we're in now, is Small Business Week. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whereases, and one now therefore that designates Small Business Week in the Montgomery area, and call upon all public and private organizations to participate in events in the Montgomery area, recognizing the contributions made by small businesses to the process and well-being of all. Lisa McKenty is the head of our resource center chamber. Come on up, Lisa, and accept this. But as we know, small business is the heart and soul of our business community. So many people come to us through the small business expansion. So Lisa, I know that you're excited to receive this, but more important, you're excited to graduate those from the Resource Center so they can go into the world and make money,
Yes,
and pay
sir.
taxes and take care of their family.
That's right. Dr. Portis,
Hey,
one of
Doctor,
our
good to see you.
university partners.
Please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. We really appreciate it and at the pleasure of the council. We work every single day with the Chamber of Commerce to try and create and preserve jobs. Our small business sector of the economy accounts for about 56% of our payroll, and we have over 20,000 businesses in the city and county of Montgomery. It is the single largest sector of your economy, and we work every single day with our partners, like our universities represented by Dr. Portis here from Troy University, Alabama State University, the SBDC there, our independent entrepreneurs like CoWorks 46, all work together in our system to try and help strengthen our existing businesses and help those who want to go into business to start their business. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the council for understanding the value of the economic development work that we do at the Chamber of Commerce and how we're trying to build our community and give back to the citizens that are looking to invest in what we do. So thank you, sir.
Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it, Doctor. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Lisa and the Chamber for the opportunity to partner with Troy, Alabama State, AUM. We see this from the other end of the spectrum. They deal directly with small businesses, and Troy and Alabama State and AUM, we prepare our students to go into the workforce. A lot of our students, they come to us and they have no clue as to what they want to do. I ask them, do you want to make money? Do you want to support yourself? Yes. Well, then you want to go into business, right? And so we start giving them practical opportunities to get engaged with local businesses through Troy, Alabama State, and AUM, and other university partners also. We'd like to thank the City of Montgomery for partnering with us and allowing us these opportunities. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
On with the business.
Very good, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Bell, you had something to say?
Mr. Mayor. I'll be complimentary, nothing negative. You were talking about the initiative, the Equal Justice Initiative. Do you plan to do an economic impact study that we could see the type of revenue that came in?
Right. Yes, obviously that revenue stream has come right in the midst of a month change, and so it will be this time next month and even the following month before we get the total picture. But Dawn Hathcock is here, and she has proclaimed that somewhere in that 25 to 30,000 range of individuals between, say, Monday and Saturday were in Montgomery. We know they had a sellout crowd on Thursday night, over 7,000. We know there was 8,500 Friday night. We know that certain businesses have let us know over the weekend and emails yesterday and today that they set all-time records for hotel occupancy, for sales, particularly in the restaurants and things like that. And so while we don't have the exact number, we would think that it would be in the $20+ million range in goods and services purchased during that period of time over a normal week that we would have. But we will be in a better position in 30 and 60 days to know exactly what that economic impact will be, and it'll be done through our revenue department. And Barry, we've done the same thing with some of the other tournaments we had in, and certainly the committee bowl. We look at that, so we have a methodology of being able to do that.
And I'd just like to let you know that the fire chief and Ken Bolden are Lowndes County boys also.
Well, you raised them nicely.
Thank you. Any special committee reports? I don't think we had any. So, in public communication of agenda items, Alfreda Murdoch, did you have something you want to talk about? A particular item? What item did you want to talk about? Yes, ma'am. Alfreda Murdoch? Yes, come forward. I can't hear you. Come to the mic, please.
I don't have anything on the agenda. It was after the agenda that I
Okay, well, you can talk to us after the meeting, okay?
talked to afterwards.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here. Okay. All right, and Phyllis Harvey Hall is right, signed up for number 7, but I'll wait till we get to number 7, then you can talk, okay? First item on the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, item 1, appeal of demolition of 923 Hutchinson Street.
Mr. Larkin.
Mr. President, I believe that the issues associated with this item on the agenda have been resolved satisfactorily with the Housing Codes Department and the city, and I would like to make a motion to grant the appeal of Mr. Myron K. Bell.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Do you want me to spread in
Yes.
minutes?
Yes,
the
spread it in
statement
the
that was
minutes.
made?
Yeah, you got
Okay.
other information spread in it.
Okay.
Mr. Carr, you okay? Mr. Carr?
I
You
need the
okay?
vote. I need the vote, Mr. President.
Okay, I need a motion. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. Item number 2.
Ordinance rezoning one lot located at 3823 South Mont Drive from an R75 district to a B2Q.
Mr. Tyson?
Mr. President, the Planning Commission failed to make a recommendation on this item. It rises on appeal by the petitioner.
Okay. I need a motion, council.
Are they here?
Is anyone here? Rep? Yes, ma'am. Would you like to come forward, please? Your name, please?
Nikki Motley.
Okay. Council, you got a question, Ms. Motley?
Well, I mean,
Go ahead.
I'll certainly start. We've got some questions. I'm sure you heard at the Planning Commission just about the fact that this is in the part of a neighborhood with what we call spot zoning. Everything else is residential, and then you're, wanting to run a business out of there. I think there was some. I mean, that's my main concern and reservation. I know we've denied several other businesses similar to, maybe even exactly the same as this, in neighborhoods for this exact reason. But I think there was also some concerns about the ability. I think you were wanting how many children there?
But no more, at least 15 to 20.
Okay, with meeting the state regs about drop off and pick up and
Correct.
things of that
There is
nature.
adequate space for it, so.
Well, I mean, I applaud what you're doing and think it's great. We certainly need it, but in my view, in the middle of a neighborhood is not necessarily where we want cars coming in and leaving and dropping off kids at the same time the residents are trying to go to work. That's my concern, along with the spot zoning.
I walked the neighborhood back in February and everyone was pretty much okay. I even got them to sign a petition, so I don't.
Ms. Motley? Is it Ms. Motley?
Yes.
You said you walked the neighborhood and you talked to people in the neighborhood.
The residents in the neighborhood, yes.
And you got them to sign a petition.
Yes.
Did you encounter any opposition in the neighborhood when you were seeking signatures for your petition?
Everybody just seemed okay. When I went and spoke with them, they was
Do
saying.
you have a copy of that petition?
Yes.
Yeah, most of them on Southmore. Anybody else want to see it? Yeah, the issue that we're having is with the spot zoning. I mean, some of the concerns.
Yeah, my feeling is we're so deep into the neighborhood with this, the spot zoning, it's not on the outside of the edge or the outskirts. I'm still worried about, even though you walk through the neighborhood, I'm still concerned with that amount of traffic from maybe 15 or more families coming and going at the peak hours at the same time. Quite a disturbance coming to that one focal point right there. I've seen the pictures of the house and all, and I honestly don't see any loop around driveways or anything else at this time.
Yeah, you might be speaking to Mike. Sorry about that.
Just saying, pretty much before she start putting all type of money involved, make that involved with that she's seeking the approval of the council first before she start going spending money. And I think that's smart.
So is your intention to put a loop around driveway in there?
Yes, and the front yard is gonna be, what I'm planning on doing with the front yard is the concrete. Therefore, and it's gonna be
Honey?
yeah, and I'm gonna, for the drop off and stuff like that, so.
So let me ask you this, why did you choose this house?
Because my uncle pretty much, he used to rent it out and he couldn't keep a tenant in it. So he
he's already
gave
owned.
me
He's gonna
this
give it
one
to you?
as well as another one. So he gave me 2 properties, and since I'm already a licensed home daycare provider in another area, I just decided to turn it into a daycare center for that community.
Okay, any other questions? Do I have a motion?
It's tough.
What if may I suggest something?
Mayor?
You know, we're not, all due respect, we're not sure the question that was asked to get the petition and all that, just walk the neighborhood. What about deferring this for 2 weeks and have the city council person along with her have a meeting of that community so that you could get firsthand a
Do we have
sense
a
of what
neighborhood
that
association?
community-
Do they have a neighborhood association at all?
I think her name was Laura McGee.
Yes.
I've spoken with her and she's gonna support me as well as Pastor Milliner.
Okay, so I talked to Laura. I'll tell you what, let's hold it over 2 weeks. I'm gonna talk to Laura, and that petition that you have, do they have telephone numbers on it?
Yes.
I'll make some calls, talk to them. I'll talk to Laura McGee.
Okay.
Then I'll come back and speak to the council with my findings. If you can give me that list, I'll take care of it.
So in the meantime, she really needs to just hold up as far as
don't put
paying any kind, don't put any money in it
now.
now.
I know Laura McGee very well. I'll talk to her, and then We'll go from there. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All
See you
right.
in 2 weeks. Okay. Next item.
Item 3, resolution authorizing Mayor Strange to make application to HUD for substantial amendments under Community Development Block Grant Group and Home Investment Partnerships Program.
Need a motion?
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
8,
All opposed, same sign.
1 no.
Okay.
Resolution
item.
is adopted. Item 4, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning 2 lots located on the north side of Ray Thornton Road, west of Wisdom Road, 345 and 375 Ray Thornton Road, from an O1 district to a B2Q district.
Mr. Tyson.
Mr. President, the Planning Commission recommended the approval of this change to B2Q with several stipulations.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing has been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Mr. President,
Pruitt?
Mr. Tyson, when you said with several stipulations, do those stipulations go into the minutes, or do we have to read those?
They're in the ordinance.
In the ordinance.
They're in the ordinance, okay.
Yeah.
And just so I'm clear, Mr. Tyson, and we talked about it, and I just want to reiterate it, there's 2 pieces of property that pretty much touch this property that are B2Qs. And every stipulation that we're putting on this new piece of property are on the existing 2 B2Qs.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Move to adopt.
A motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Ordinance is adopted. Item 5, ordinance assessing ad valorem taxes for a year beginning October 2017, ending September 2018.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move for adoption.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 6, resolution authorizing de-annexation of 3240 East Avalon Parkway.
The representative of this property here. Okay. Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Charles, this is your district, right?
No.
Move to deny.
It's Glenn's.
Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir. That's
Have a
all
motion
right.
to deny?
Move to deny, yes, sir.
Have a motion to deny. All in favor, raise your hand.
That's all right.
Put your hands up, gentlemen.
That's all right.
Unanimous.
Okay.
That's fine.
Motion denied.
Resolution is denied. Item 7, resolution recognizing May 2018 as National Historic Preservation Month.
Before we vote, Phyllis, you want to speak on this item? Number 7?
This is the historic preservation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to speak on it? You said you want to speak on item number 7.
Do we have some representatives here on this item?
Yes, we have some representatives of the Montgomery Historical Association.
Would it be proper if I heard what they had to say first?
Who's here from historical?
Richard Bailey is the president of
Is
the
he here?
organization.
Is Richard here?
He's right there.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the details of this.
What, you're concerned about what?
The details of it, it seems.
But did
sort
you
of
read the
vague.
resolution?
I have it here on my phone, but if you have
It
a
just
hard
says
copy, I would
it's-
love to see it.
It's a resolution that is commending them. It's 2 for managing growth, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. The city's downtown plan recognizes and encourages the importance of protecting and promoting its unique historic resources for economic development, tourism, supports the City Council of Montgomery supports the Historic Preservation Committee, forward-thinking historic neighborhoods that request a design review to protect them and other local history and preservation organizations in the effort to maintain the vitality of the heart. And then we are proclaiming the month of May as National Historic Preservation Month in the city of Montgomery. That's what this resolution does.
Isn't that sort of redundant since we've already had something from the governor protecting all our historical entities?
It's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
How
The governor did make some comment, but this is different. Richard?
Yeah, this is Dr. Richard Bailey. He is,
Yeah, he's historian.
along with Marion Neely, the the resident historian, and you know that you're a resident historian when somebody asks you, well, how do you know it's true? And they say that Dr. Richard Bailey said it was true. So
Exactly
from
right.
that standpoint, Doctor.
This is totally,
Good afternoon.
You want this?
You're thinking in terms of this might be impacting the federal state law for historic monuments.
Not at all, ma'am. Not at all.
okay.
Well, it said like structures in downtown and
Well,
significant
Have you ever
sites
been
and
to
structures.
historical commission meeting here? You ever seen that?
I've been down, yes.
Okay, but historical commission meets, and they make sure that historical sites are preserved. That's what this is all about.
Well, Mr.
Would
Dillon,
you-
Mr. President,
since Dr. Bailey is here,
Give me some of the names. I would like to know what are
Yeah.
some of these sites.
Okay, let me ask Ms. Christy Anderson, who is our coordinator from city planning, to speak specifically to your issue, and then if you're still not quite satisfied, I'll come back and reinforce something that she has said.
The National Trust for Historic Preservation recognizes May as National Historic Preservation Month, so municipalities across the country often recognize May as Preservation Month as well. We have several designated historic districts, which means those properties fall under review by the Architectural Review Board. Most folks know about Cloverdale. We have the Garden District, Cloverdale, Idlewild, Capitol Heights, Cottage Hill, a portion of Highland Avenue, and Lower Commerce Street. So those are our districts. There are about 2,200 properties in the city of Montgomery that are historically designated. And all this does is says, yay, historic preservation, it's Historic Preservation Month. The HPC will be holding an awards program next week, so this is part of kind of bringing attention to that program.
For your neighborhood. So this is the first time that we've had such an ordinance or resolution?
No.
It's been before?
Every year.
We've done it almost every year.
Okay.
Mr. President, I think Ms. Hall has a concern that maybe many people have a concern, because some people ask me, and I think maybe we haven't differentiated between this resolution and that off of state law that was passed. Let's just get straight down to it. It was passed because some people in the black community and in the white community wanted to take down statues that glorified people who succeeded from the state and who kept slaves. I wouldn't be voting for it, Ms. Hall, if that was it. Each of us many of us appoint people to those boards, and one of the things that one of the buildings would be something like Holt Street. Am I correct? Holt Street Baptist Church, or some maybe even St. Jude. It would have nothing to do with these statutes, and if I thought it was, I'd be the first one to say, "Hey, I'm voting against it," but it's not that. So I don't know if that helps.
Mr. President, at the end of the day, it's the last paragraph. It says, City of Montgomery does hereby recognize May 2018 as National Historic Preservation Month. That's all it does.
Yeah, it's national.
It just recognizes the month as that, and that's it.
Okay.
Move to
All
suspend
right,
the
thank you very
rules.
much. Thank you, okay.
Move to suspend the rules.
Thank you.
A motion to suspend the rule, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
If you don't mind, Dr. Bailey would like to thank the council.
Yeah, Doctor.
Yes, let me thank the council and the mayor of the city of Montgomery for your work in helping us to make May, recognize May as National Historic Preservation Month. And I would just like to encourage the members of the council and everyone to attend our awards banquet that will be held on May the 8th, 1 week from today, in City Hall chambers right here in the auditorium beginning at 5:30 p.m. so you can actually see the kind of awards that we will give out on that evening. And this is a magnificent occasion, and we just want to do as much as we can to highlight what we have here in the city of Montgomery. So there's no admission charge, and I would like for you to come out and just see what we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Item 8 is now in compliance, and that resolution is withdrawn. Item 9, application for retail beer off-premise only, doing business as Coliseum Food Mart at 2090 Coliseum Boulevard.
Representative Coliseum Food Mart, please. Come forward. Coliseum Food Mart. Unusual. We'll carry this one over then. We have to have anyone here to talk against this item. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Now it will be carried over 2 weeks and see if somebody shows up. This is not yours, is it? Okay. All right. Carry it over.
Item 10, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Holt Street Grocery, 1301 South Holt Street.
Your name for the record?
Chris Hargett.
Chris. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing has been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Item
Good luck
11,
with your business.
application for retail beer and retail table wine owner off premises, doing business as Prevail Union Montgomery at 39 Dexter Avenue.
Representative of the new shop.
Yes.
Your name?
Christina Torres.
You can pull that down, Christina.
Christine?
Christina Torres.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held. Brought before the council. Need a motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
Good luck with your
adopted.
business.
Lisa,
Thank you.
Lisa,
Yes,
before you
sir.
leave, so the council will know, Prevail was up for the best coffee in the United States of America. They did not win the best in the United States, but they represented the Southeast, and they competed extremely well. But there will be a next time, and I suspect that sometime very soon we'll get that. It's opened in the new Crest building right there on Dexter Avenue.
Well, great. Welcome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next
Item
item.
12, application for lounge retail liquor class 1 license, doing business as Utopia Event Center, 5050 Narrow Lane Road.
Representative Utopia Event Center. Your name, sir?
My name is Roderick Battle.
Okay, Mr. Battle. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward.
Yeah, we're gonna hold this over for a couple of
Okay.
weeks. There's some concerns, and
Okay.
Yeah.
I've had public hearing officially been held and asked to the council, Mr. Green.
yeah, we're gonna hold this over for a couple of weeks. Need to clear some things up with the police, as well as some other issues. So
Sure.
we're gonna take care of that. I already talked with them, so
This will be carried over then.
for a couple of weeks.
Next 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Item 13, application for restaurant retail liquor license, doing business as Winger's Sports Grill at 445 Dexter Avenue.
Representative of Wingers, Sports Grill. Yes, sir. Your name, sir?
My name's Lee Pena.
Okay, Lee. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Brought before the council. Need a motion?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
And move to adopt.
Wait a minute, I don't have a vote on that, right?
Okay.
Suspend the rules.
Suspend the rules. Mr. Bell.
Suspend the rules. Unanimous.
All right. Now I need a motion to adopt.
So move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
Good
adopted.
luck with your business.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you for being here.
Item 14, application for a nonprofit tax-exempt liquor license, doing business as a Fitzgerald Museum Gala and Silent Auction at 919 Felder Avenue.
Your name for the record, please.
Sarah Powell.
Okay, Sarah. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Properly, council, need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have motion to suspend the rules, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
Motion to adopt, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your event.
Thank you.
Sarah, when is that event?
May 11th.
May 11th.
You'll receive invitations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Item 15, application for special events retail liquor license doing business as Bonder's Pub and Grill at 2600 North Belt Drive.
Your name for the record, please.
Lauren Santos.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing to be held. Properly with council. Mr. Lyons?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have motion to suspend the rules, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your event.
Thank you.
Item 16, application for a nonprofit tax exempt liquor license doing business as legal municipalities at Court Square on Dexter.
Okay,
Scott Miller.
thank you, Mr. Miller. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held. It's proper with council. Any motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move for adoption.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with the event, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. President and council.
All right.
Item 17, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at these following locations.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
To uphold.
Uphold. You just need a motion.
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Item 18, resolution declaring public nuisances, authorizing abatement and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we want to put this peddlers, read that into the minutes for carry over to the next meeting.
Ordinance repealing Chapter 20 of Code of Ordinances and adopting new articles regulating peddlers and solicitors.
Okay, that'll be carried over to the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
And then I believe we need to do a little housekeeping on the league. So I'd like to have, we need to, it's just for lack of, can we have everybody as voting delegate?
You need a primary and a secondary.
Why don't we just do the president and vice chair is that okay with, gentlemen, is that okay with
You
y'all?
might want to look at the schedule. I think the actual business meeting may be Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon?
You might, yeah.
What
I
day
think
is
that's
that?
when it is.
Was that
And
20?
whomever represents us will be the only one to have the vote.
I just work it out where I can take it.
Okay.
I can run that. Let's have a motion. Somebody make the motion.
What are we,
I make a mo-
I'll be the vice,
what are we moving for?
the voting,
I make a motion that the president and vice president of the council are voting members, president being first voting member, and
Voting delegates to the Alabama League Convention.
to the Alabama League of Municipalities.
Okay.
And I move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise
Well,
your
you don't
hand.
have a document in front of you, but you can't suspend the rules. That's why I was hesitating for a moment. I'll have to put it in resolution form with the approval of the council, but you just need a motion to adopt since there's no
Okay.
resolution in front of you.
Motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay, now, let's see what else we got here.
I have contingency
You
funds.
got the, contingency funds, okay?
Yes, sir. I have one contingency fund for District 1, $1,000 to Alabama Kidney Foundation.
Okay, I need a motion on.
Mr.
adopt
President.
this.
Hold on, Mr. President.
We got somebody else want to add something to it up there. All right,
Mr. President, I'd like to do $300 to the Boy Scouts. And it was that program we were doing today.
yeah.
And also, I'd like to do $500 to Youth in Action. And
Anybody else?
That's all,
Yeah,
Mr.
let me
President.
do
Green?
500 to the Boy Scouts. No, 300 to the Boy Scouts for the, what's it called?
What we did today.
Boy Scout.
The camp,
Adventure
Okay, for the
Leadership
camp.
Camp.
Yes, the camp.
Camp Adventure, I believe.
We got that.
And let me do 300 to the summer youth sports camp.
Is that different from what
Yeah, just right here.
I need to go ahead and do that.
summer youth
Sports camp. And I think it's, who does it go to? Does it go to summer youth sports camp or the Park Neighborhood Association?
Bill Meade.
Bell Mead.
Belmead Neighborhood Association?
For the summer youth sports camp.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
can I add 250 to that, Ms. Blaylock?
250 to
Yes,
this?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am, please.
$250.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
I'll put you down 2,500.
Yeah, no, ma'am, I don't have that much.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, these okay with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anybody else? Need a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. Okay, on our public communication roster of non-agenda items, Lisa Hale to speak on